Lynette Oxley here for SHAC Tactical TV, in the process of interviewing some extraordinary women for the 16 days of action for no violence against women and children. So I'm here today with Sarah Kalell. Am I saying that correctly, Sarah?
Perfect, thanks, Lynette.
Okay. Sarah is the executive officer for the Clay Target Shooting Association of South Africa. Have I got that right as well?
Spot on. Yeah, thank you.
Quite a long name, Ctsasa.
It is.
Tell me, Sarah, give me some background. It's quite impressive. I looked today at, you started shooting quite earlier. Where were your first experiences prior to 1986 when you actually started competing quite seriously? When did you start getting interested and where in shooting?
Yeah, I started getting interested in the early 80s, and we went to a local American air base. This was in England, and it was the USAF Alconbury Air Base, and we started shooting a form of skeet, the American skeet, and didn't have a lot of money in those days. I was only just barely starting to work. I was 18, 19, 20, and so we just did a bit of practice, and then after a few months, about 6 months, someone said, why don't you go and shoot a competition? So we said, well, didn't even know that there were competitions out there. So we found the next competition, and I remember standing on the first stand and shaking like a leaf. My knees were knocking and trying to put the ammo into the shotgun, and and then that was really the start of a competitive career. I didn't realize I was competitive until then.
Absolutely. So your first competition, I think you won you were ladies champion in 1986 at the English Open Ski Championship, am I correct?
Yes, yeah. So American skeet is very similar to English skeet, just a few differences on some of the stands that you shoot. And so that was the first major competition that I shot. So yeah, that was quite nice to win that one.
Absolutely fantastic. Are you still shooting competitively or not anymore?
Not really, no, but little bits here and there. Obviously in the last couple of years it's been quite difficult, but whenever I get onto the range, I'm still competitive. I want to beat everybody, so the competitive spirit is still there. So yeah.
When did you come onto the South Africa? When did you move to South Africa? And can you tell us a little bit more about the Ctsasa?
Yeah, well, I met my then husband to be. I came to South Africa in February '92 for it was the FITASC African Sporting Champs. So back then it was called the Pan African. Now it's a bit more of a mouthful. And then I moved out to South Africa at the end of '92. And I needed a job, and it just so happened that the secretary of the CPSA, as it was then, the Clay Pigeon Shooting Association, she was retiring the following May or June. So I applied for the job, got the job, and started working 1st of April 1993. And yeah, so since then, lots have happened in the shooting world and still happening.
So how many disciplines are actually under the wings of the organization? There's so many different skeet shooting or clay pigeon shooting disciplines, am I correct?
Yes, there are 4 main ones: skeet, trap, trench and sporting. And within those main discipline fields, there are a number of sub-disciplines. So in skeet you have American, you have English, but then you also have Olympic, which is obviously the pinnacle of clay target shooting. And then under trap you have American trap, DTL trap, and those are the sort of the introductory disciplines. There's also a newer discipline under FITASC, which is an international federation, and that's called Trap 1. So it's in between DTL trap and a trench discipline. And trench is universal trench, or it's Olympic trap. And then you have sporting, and we have English sporting and FITASC sporting. So sporting simulates live field shooting. So you just literally go out and you shoot under safe conditions, of course, different varieties of targets, high, low, fast, slow, rabbits running along the ground, and little what we call bumblebees, a little 60mm clay. I think I've got one here actually. That's, you probably can't tell the size there, but it's that small. Yeah. Okay. And a normal one, that's a normal size clay. So if I do that, you can see the difference.
Absolutely fantastic. And I'm very glad you're showing us the clays, because when you actually talk about rabbits and pigeons and stuff, people get really, really worried about it, because I think they're going to shoot real little rabbits and stuff.
I know.
It's really funny.
It's strange. The reason why we changed the name from clay pigeon to clay target is because back in those days, 93, 94, 95, I started receiving calls from people who said they found this racing pigeon and they didn't know what to do with it. So I said, well, you know, you're not really at the right place for that. So
that is really funny.
That is hilarious. I won't tell you the rest of the story, but there's a quite a sweet story attached to that. But to cut a long story short, we changed the name to clay target because it was more representative of what we actually do. Yeah. So then from the sporting disciplines, you then move to what we call the standard disciplines of skeet, trap and trench. So those are on layouts that are regimented, as it were. They're set up. They're concrete stands. The traps, the clay launchers are in specific places. The targets go a specific distance and a specific trajectory. So those are standards. And when you look at, say, like the trench disciplines, if you can imagine in front of you, you've got a long trench running left to right. And in there, it houses these clay launchers, these clay traps. And universal trench has 5 traps, and then Olympic trap has 15 traps. Sure. So, and those targets go away from you in various different directions and speeds and heights. So they're more difficult than the ordinary trap disciplines, because that's a layout where you have one trap house in front of you, and that target, if you can imagine something oscillating, so it moves left and right. So as you call pull, the target is released at any point in that oscillation, and then they are launched at different trajectories also, but much slower than the trench. And then the skeet, if you can imagine a semicircle, and then you've got a high house on the left-hand side and a low house on the other, and those two targets are launched like that. They cross each other. So you shoot those in combination of a single target. So you call pull, and the one target goes out, and you have one shot at it. You can't shoot 2 barrels at it. And then you have a double where they cross in the middle. So those are the basic disciplines. But the best way to see that, I mean, it's obviously I can visualize it all, but for someone hearing this for the first time, sometimes, you know, it's difficult to visualize. So the best thing you can do, if you're interested, is go along to a club where they have those disciplines, and then you see it all in action. And then it's that outdoor vibrant excitement of shooting and seeing this clay explode into 1,000 bits.
That's fantastic. Tell me, on a personal note, what did shooting do for you? Did it contribute to who you are as a person, do you think? Did it feel empowering to actually shoot a shotgun? Because shotguns, most people are the most scared, especially ladies, of shotguns, and it's really actually quite intimidating if you don't know don't know about the sport.
Yeah, I think it is intimidating for sure. I remember the first time I shot a shotgun. It was a side-by-side, 30-inch, absolutely the wrong firearm for clay target shooting. And obviously it didn't fit me, so there was recoil and everything, but I was determined to pursue it. So, and I don't even remember firing the first shot, to be honest. I just remember it was very loud, and then I kind of got hooked. And the moment you break that first clay, then, you know, your mind is then, oh, okay, I understand what this is about now. So it's getting over that initial fear of what the shotgun is. And when your shotgun fits you, then you won't feel that recoil, and your body will be able to absorb it. And also for ladies, you know, it's very important to have upper body strength and to do, you know, be fit and so on. So that really does help. So, but initially, you know, these days there are so many more options for ladies. You have cartridges which have less recoil, so you won't feel the impact on that, and then don't shoot too much when you actually go out. Sort of shoot maybe a dozen shots before you finish for the day. Yeah, look, I mean, as I say, I didn't realize I was competitive until I started clay shooting. I used to shoot, I used to play pool. And I think I had an inkling then that, I like to win, but not the same as when I was shooting clays. So, yeah, I mean, I traveled to a lot of places, various international championships. I shot for Great Britain, a great privilege. So it teaches you a strong mind, because when you shoot, or when you play any sport to any level of high competitiveness, you need a strong mind. You can have all the talent in the world and all the skills and practice, but you can't substitute the experience of international events for strengthening the mind to be able to cope with that big match environment. You need that big match temperament. So it did teach me that, and that you carry over to life in general.
I do agree with you. It's I interviewed somebody in Satsu, which is basically air rifles, and it's one of the teachers for the youngsters, and they said it actually also teaches you discipline.
Yes.
In terms of, because you can't point your firearm at everybody, so it's quite important. It teaches youngsters discipline. You can't just disengage the mind when you're shooting.
Yes, it is discipline. It's also how to achieve goals, because you don't just go onto a shooting range and think, oh, well, I'm just going to go and plink away. You need to have a goal. You need to be able to set your targets, and if you want to go and achieve something, you have to work hard to go and get it. So and especially for youngsters, it's very good. It does teach them discipline. And I saw something a number of years ago where they said that, and this has come out of America, where youngsters who are taught how to handle firearms safely, whether it's self-defense, whether it's in sport, they are less likely to get involved in any type of crime, let alone firearm crime. So from that rationale, it really is good for youngsters to learn how to handle firearms. And it's not everyone's cup of tea, I know that, but coming from England, we were not a firearm nation. I mean, I had never seen I'd seen a pellet gun that my brother had. So, well, I mean, that's nothing. But to go and see a shotgun, it's just not, and certainly for women, it wasn't something that you generally did. So it taught me about the basic rights of people in terms of self-defense. Not that was an issue in England at the time. I only learned more about these things when I came to South Africa. So, and over the years, it opened your eyes to quite a number of things, not just sport, but life and rights and things in general.
That's really important. If you've got a message for ladies that would like to get involved in shooting in general, what would that be?
Go for it. I mean, if you are inclined to have a look at something like clay shooting, it is very different from the other shooting sports. It's exciting, obviously, and I'm not demeaning the other shooting sports, but for us to be outdoors, I mean, they're all exciting, but the exciting thing about clays, you see these things flying through the air. It's a very different sport, and the challenge of shooting something moving is different from shooting something stationary. So if you're quite willing to go and have a go with, it's very different. It's different.
I know trying to shoot moving targets is not that easy.
No, it is. It's coordination. Yeah, it's like if you go and play tennis, for example, it's a similar principle in that you have to have a follow through with your tennis racket or your shotgun, and you literally catch the clay. So with the lead shot in the shotgun. So for ladies, don't be intimidated. Go and find a club where there's already a lady there who can show you. We don't have an awful lot of ladies, but we do have a sprinkling around the country, and it's something that you can do you know, with a small group of people and not feel intimidated. But once you have a go, it's, and I issue a warning here, it is addictive.
It is.
It is addictive. And yeah, once you've shot your first clays and, you know, you've got comfortable with the shotgun, you know, it's fabulous.
I'm signing out. It's Lynette Ox here for SHAC Tactical TV. For Gosa Girls on Fire. I'm not a victim, and I'm every woman. Thank you very much for all of the viewers. Thank you, Sarah. Cheers.
Thank you, Lynette. Thank you very much.